We're here at European Development Days in Brussels, the flagship event of the European Year for Development 2015. The forum certainly comes at a key moment, just a month before the Addis Ababa Financing for Development Conference, the post-2015 agenda setting in New York in September, and December's COP21 climate negotiations in Paris. So with that backdrop in mind, what are the 6,000 global development professionals here in Brussels this week really talking about? I'm joined here by Devex Impact's Associate Editor Adva Saldinger. Adva, what has caught your eye so far this week?
It's been a very interesting conversation thus far. At the opening plenary, we heard from Jean-Claude Juncker, who is the president of the European Commission, and he talked about the 0.7% commitment and really said that the EU position is that that should be met. It's not a noble objective, but rather it's something that is necessary to bring an end to this bipolar world that we live in. We also heard from Martin Schulz, the president of the European Parliament, who echoed those sentiments and said that the Parliament would continue to push member states to meet that commitment. He said that any international aid cuts in the EU budget really undermine the EU's credibility and in the end can cost lives. And we also heard today from Melinda Gates, who talked a little bit about what the Gates Foundation has learned in its last 15 years. She talked about an early reliance on technology and research and development investments that didn't pay quite enough attention to the implementation. She also outlined 3 things that are necessary to finish the SDG process: agreeing on the right targets, ensuring that the international community can finance them, and involving the local communities. And Richard, I know you've had a lot of interesting conversations here as well.
Yeah, well, there's obviously been a lot of talk about the ongoing migrant crisis. Well, it became a front and center issue following last month's terrible loss of life in the Mediterranean. This led to the European Commission presenting its European migration agenda and adopting the first set of proposals last week. We sat down to discuss the latest with Marcus Cornaro, Deputy Director General of Development at the European Commission.
Indeed, migration, I think, is one of the defining moments, whether the European Commission, the Juncker Commission, having migration as one of its core priorities, is able to deliver. We have yet to see the results, but I think the overall thrust and the way we have put this particular issue as part of a broader agenda, I think makes it still sort of a winning theme where the tide.
This is an example of policy coherence for development in action.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And this is why we in DEFCO are very adamant to pull our full weight behind that. But of course it takes the domestic dimension, it takes the external relations dimension and many other actors.
We've also heard a lot from practitioners here about the road to Addis Ababa and the Financing for Development Conference and the need for the global development industry to reform and change. And for me, what's really striking is all the talk of moving beyond official development assistance and towards the blending of aid amid belt tightening and doing more with less, and really the need for more innovative partnerships. Michel Sidibe, Executive Director at UNAIDS, was particularly vocal on the need for private sector engagement and innovation.
I think post-2015 need really to reinvent the governance system. The governance system we have today is not bringing true partnership with private sector. And we need to have private sector in our different boards. We need to make sure that we tap on private sector knowledge and know-how like we did with HIV/AIDS.
Stay tuned to Devex.com for an event wrap-up and much more from EDD 2015.